Have you ever come across a health system that boils everything down to just 12 simple mineral salts? Today, we're going to jump into the pretty fascinating world of Dr. Schussler's 12 tissue remedies, which you might also know as cell salts. So let's get right into it and see what this century-old system is all about. So the big question is, what are cell salts exactly? Well, to answer that, we've got to go back in time over 140 years to a German doctor who had a revolutionary, but actually very simple idea about what keeps our bodies running smoothly. Okay, so this is the man himself, Dr. Wilhelm Heinrich Schwessler. Back in the late 1880s, he came up with this theory after, and this is wild, he analyzed the ash that was left over from human cells. He basically concluded that these 12 specific mineral salts were absolutely crucial for our cells to be healthy, and if you were missing any of them, well, that could be the root cause of illness. And that number, 12, that's the magic number here. The entire system, the whole shebang, is built around these 12 essential mineral salts. He believed that by giving the body back these salts in a really low potency homeopathic form, you could basically restore health right at the cellular level. So let's see what they are. All right, so the salts are actually broken down into a few main groups. We're going to start with the biggest one, the most foundational one, the calcium group. You can kind of think of these as the bedrock of the entire system. Now, what you're looking at here is the raw info, straight from our source material. This is where we're pulling the key ideas for each salt in what they call the calcarea, or calcium group. So let's break this down into something a little easier to digest. So here it is, a bit more organized. You've got 3 calcium remedies. First, there's Calcarea fluorica. They call it the elasticity salt, and it's used for things like building tissue and helping with circulation. Then you have Calcarea phosphorica. That's the general tonic. Think of it as a broad general nutrient. And last up is Calcarea sulfurica, the blood purifier, which is used for more minor skin stuff like pimples. All right, moving on. Next up, we've got 2 groups that are kind of the power players in the body. The potassium group, which you'll see called kali, and the sodium group, or natrum. And just like before, here's a look at the source text for the 3 salts in the kali, or potassium group. You can see words popping out like congestion, nerve nutrients, and oxygen exchange. So let's put 2 of the main ones side by side to really see what they do. And you can see a really clear difference here, right? On the left, you've got Calimere. It's nicknamed the children's remedy, and it acts as a blood conditioner for stuff like coughs and colds. But then on the right, Caliphos is totally different. It's the nerve nutrient, and it's for things like nervous exhaustion or irritability. So same family, potassium, but totally different jobs. Okay, now let's do the same thing for the sodium group, which is called natrum. And if you look at the source text, you can see the main ideas here are all about water distribution, acid, and the liver. This table makes it super clear how each one manages a different kind of balance in the body. You have NatMer, the water distributor, so it deals with either being too dry or having too much moisture. Then NatPhos is the acid neutralizer, think heartburn. And finally, NatSulf is the liver salt, and its job is to help get rid of excess water. And that brings us to our last 3 remedies. Now, these guys aren't really in a big family group, they're more like specialists. Each one has a really specific, powerful role. We're talking iron, magnesium, and silica. A quick peek at the source shows their jobs are pretty distinct, right? One's an oxygen carrier, one's a nerve stabilizer, and the last one is a cleanser. Let's take a quick look at each one. First up, ferrum phosphoricum. This is the iron-based salt, so it makes sense that its main job is being the oxygen carrier. In this system, it's considered the first thing you'd reach for, for the very first stages of inflammation, a cold, or a fever. Then we have magnesia phosphorica, the nerve stabilizer. And just like it sounds, its whole deal is calming things down. This is the go-to remedy in this system for any kind of sharp, spasmodic pain. We're talking cramps, muscle spasms, that sort of thing. And that brings us to our 12th and final salts, silica. Its nickname is the cleanser. Its whole purpose is to help the body push out impurities. So it's often linked to things like impure blood, boils, or anything involving pus. Okay, so we've met all 12 remedies, but how do you actually, use them? Well, the system is designed to be pretty simple and flexible, depending on what's going on. This quote from our source material really gets to the heart of how dosing works. It points out a really important difference between just general everyday use and treating something acute that just popped up.
So let's just break that down to make it super simple. For general upkeep, the standard is 4 tablets 4 times a day. Simple enough. But if you're in an acute situation, like that example of using Magphos for really bad cramps, you could take it way more often, even every 5 minutes until things calm down. The big takeaway here is flexibility.
And that's our whirlwind tour of Dr. Schuessler's 12 cell salts, a system that's over 140 years old now? All based on this simple idea of cellular balance. It's been used by countless people around the world, which really just leaves us with one final thought. Is this incredibly simple theory a timeless key to oneness,